Hey champs, welcome back. In the last video, we talked about the top 10 types of products you don't want to sell for your Amazon FBA private label business. And I'll link to that video at the end of this video if you haven't watched that yet or if you want to re-watch it. But in this video, we're going to talk about the top 10 types of products you do want to sell, or the top 10 types of criteria you're going to look for when you're looking to sell a product. So number one is small and light items. So there's two different criterias for sizes for Amazon FBA fees, and let me show you. Okay, so we're on this Amazon seller's help page, and you can see here that the standard size versus oversized. A standard size item is one that's, when fully packaged, weighs 20 pounds or less and does not exceed these three sizes, okay, for the actual package that the item comes in, okay? But even further than that is that they have two sizes below oversized, okay? So here's oversized, here's small standard size, and I'm gonna show you that here in a second. This one's very hard to get because of this one right here. So if you don't have at least one side less than that, then you won't qualify. So this one's very hard to get, and I'll show you a product like that here in a second and how the fees calculate, okay? The majority of your smaller packages or products that you sell are going to run into this large standard size. Now the fee's a little bit more than small standard size. I'm gonna show you that here in a second, but it's nothing compared to small oversized. So oversized, once you get an oversized, it's just tremendously more. Like your fees will like double or triple, and your shipping from China will double or triple also. So you know, you can find products like that that are successful, but if you're a beginner and you don't have a big budget, you probably don't want to be there. Okay, so here is an example of a small standard size, okay? So we're going to bring up the Helium 10 profitability calculator here. And if you need this, I'll put a link for it down below in the description with a discount link. You get 50% off your first month for my subscribers and people in my Facebook group. So as you can see here, this iPhone case is small standard size, and you'll notice here that this one dimension here is below, just barely, that 0.75 inches, okay? If we see how it says small standard size here, if I actually change this to 0.8, notice that it changed from large standard size to small standard size, okay? So let's go back here and let's put 0.7. So we can see here that like the freight cost to ship this from China is only 5 cents per unit because it's so tiny. You could probably fit 50 of these in a carton, a shipping carton, okay? And the storage fees is only 1 cent per month. So you can see how a product like this can be very attractive because the fees are so small. But again, you have to take competitiveness into account. You know, like an iPhone case, very, very competitive. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of them. It's very hard to differentiate too. Okay, so as you can see here, the Amazon FBA fee for this, the size of the package is $241. This referral fee here, that's based on 15% of the item, okay? So that only changes based on the price. But what we're gonna do is, see how it's $2.41 here? We're gonna change this and make this just 1/10 of an inch higher, and it goes into the next category, and it goes to $3.19. So it's about like 80 cents more. So, but again, it's very hard to get items in that lower category because it has to be less than 1 inch on one side. So the majority of your products are going to fall into this category, large standard size. And also, for example, if we want to make this oversized, we're going to go from large standard size to oversized. So we're going to see here the FBA fee is $3.19, and the estimated shipping cost here is 5 cents. So let's change this to oversized by adding inches here. And you can see here the FBA fee went all the way up to $9.40. So it went from $3.19 to $9.40. So it like tripled, okay? It added like $6 there, which is, you know, triple the cost is a lot, okay? And also the estimated freight cost went from 5 cents to $1.41. Now, $1.41 is still very, very cheap for oversized, but that's because the weight of this is only 0.2 of a pound. So all those reasons are why light and small items are great products to sell because they have low fees. The number 2 type of product you want to sell is products with about or around $10 of profit, okay? For two reasons. One, you need money to advertise your product when it's brand new and it has no ranking on Amazon and you want to get to that first page. And two, you want to make a lot of money when you actually do sell. So once your product is actually up and ranking and you're selling 1,000 units every month or every 2 months, you're making $10,000 of profit if those are all organic sales. So you're looking for products with around $10 of profit per unit of sale. Number 3, products that sell for at least $25, okay? And there's a couple reasons why. One, those type of products can get to the $10 of profit price point where you have $10 out of that $25 which is profit, because you're gonna have your manufacturing costs, you're gonna have your shipping costs, and you're gonna have your Amazon FBA fees. So if all three of those add up to about $15, that leaves you about $10 of profit left out of a $25 price point. And the second reason is that Amazon gives free shipping to all of the Amazon customers who don't have Amazon Prime. There's over 100 million customers who shop on Amazon that don't have Prime. And those customers need to have items in their cart worth at least $25 to get free shipping. And if you don't know e-commerce well, I'll just tell you that if your product is $24.99, your conversion rate will go way down because people have to then have at least one more item in their cart worth at least 1 penny, and your conversion rate will go way down because if they don't have another item to sell, they're not going to want to pay $5 or $6 shipping or whatever Amazon is going to charge them for the shipping because they don't have Prime and they haven't hit $25 in their order, and they're probably not going to buy your product, okay? So if all else is equal, price your price point for $25. And in fact, I have tested significantly a lot of products in this category, and $25.99 actually converts about as well as $25 as long as your competitors aren't like all undercutting you. You can make that extra 99 cents or that extra $1 and it converts about the same, but you get that extra profit. Number 4, and that's products that sell for over $50, okay? So the con to this would be these type of products typically cost more because you're not gonna be able to buy like a $2 or $3 product on Alibaba and ship it over for $1 or $2 and then sell it for $50. I mean, in a perfect world, we'd all like to do that, but that's probably hard, very, very hard to do, okay? But most of the time, if you're selling a product on Amazon for $50 or more, you probably have at least $20 in profit per unit. So for every 1,000 you sell, you're making $20,000 in profit, or profit maybe before your advertising costs, okay? And if you have $20 or more built in to a profit of your product, you have a much, much higher chance to make that product successful and get it up and rank it and advertise it. You have all that big cushion of advertising money to be able to spend when you have $20 of profit for every single item you sell. Number 5 is items with at least 150% ROI. And by ROI, we mean return on investment. So what that means is that if you're spending $10 as the cost of your product and the cost of shipping, $10 combined just for round numbers, you would make back $15 of profit in addition to the $10, okay? So every time you sold an item for $10, you're getting $25 back. You're making your $10 that you spent, you're getting that back. That would be a 0% return. And then you're making $15 of profit, which would be your 150% ROI. Let me show you the easiest way to calculate this. Okay, so we're back to our iPhone case example. And as you can see here, this Helium 10 profitability calculator tells you the ROI right down here. And you can see it's 204% if you're selling it January through September. It's 203% if you're selling it in Q4. Okay, Q4, the storage fees are a little bit higher, and that's all accounted for here. So you can see here that this is based on the manufacturing cost of $2.80 of the estimated manufacturing cost and your estimated shipping costs, okay? Now, if this costs us $4, we can just change that to $4, and you can see the ROI here. So the ROI went down to 114%, which is still pretty decent, but I recommend to my students that they look for at least 150% or above. Now, if you find an absolutely killer product and your ROI is at 114%, then go for it. But typically, I like to look for products that make 150% or more ROI. And that brings me to my next point. You're probably not going to find products that meet every single one of these criteria. But the more of these criteria you meet, the better off your product is from a profitability point and from several different just good things to have of your product criteria. The number 6 criteria is items that aren't dangerous or hazardous materials. For example, knives, or if it's flammable. So a lot of things are flammable that you might not think about, and that'll fall under Amazon's hazardous materials. Let me show you. Okay, so here's an Amazon help page. You can find this just by Googling like Amazon hazardous materials. And as you can see here, there's all sorts of criteria that you'll have to meet if you have a hazardous materials or dangerous goods. And let me just scroll down here so you can see the type of, things you would be looking for. So flammable, toxic, dangerous. Those type of products are either restricted or hard to get ungated for, or you may have to jump through some hoops for them. So keep that in mind. Number 7 is items that have batteries. So those fall under the same type of classifications. So if you want to sell an item with batteries, just make sure you do all your research so you're not caught by surprise and you know exactly what you may run into. Number 8 is items that have low return rates, okay? So this is probably a little bit hard to figure out before you're actually selling a product, because I have some products that have like a 10% return rate and they're still profitable. Like I still reorder them, I still sell them, but it just wasn't something I expected ahead of time, okay? So you can kind of figure out what items or what type of categories have high return rates, such as clothing and electronics, okay? Clothing's a big one because if people try on the shirt and it's too big or too small, they don't like the color, people will return it. So generally, like clothing and electronics, you'll know ahead of time that they have slightly higher return rates, and you'll just kind of like build that into your profit calculations to know ahead of time if it's going to be profitable. So the next criteria with the type of products that you do want to look for is items where the majority of your competitors all have below 100 reviews, or the more of them that have below 100 reviews, the better, because reviews is one of the main ways to gauge competition. Let me show you. Okay, so we're back to our iPhone case example. What we're going to do is we're going to bring up the Helium 10 Chrome extension, and we're going to bring up the X-Ray Chrome extension tool. And what this is going to do is this is going to bring up all of the products in the top 10, top 20, top 30. And what we can do is we can look at their reviews and we can look at their sales. So as you can see, these products are, this iPhone case making $176,000 per month. That's every 30 days. Look at this. This one's making $400,000 a month. Okay, but the problem is that they have 19,000 reviews, 11,000 reviews, 14,000 reviews. So if you come along as a new seller, you probably can't compete with that. One, you're going to need to get as many sales as they're making to like beat them in the rankings or match them in the rankings. You're going to need tens of thousands of sales to get that. That's just a way too competitive of a search, and the main way is to look by review count, okay? And also their sales too. If someone's selling $100,000 a month, you need a lot of sales to match them in the ranking. But here's another example, these ceramic potted plants. We talked about this in the last video, and the problem with this product is it's very breakable. My good buddy George talks about it in the last video. I will link to that at the end on why this is a bad product. But when we look at this type of product, we're going to see, look at the reviews here. This guy's got 2, 59, 93, 3, 37, 4. So like you can see, a lot of these sellers have less than 100. There's 3 sellers that do out of the top like 13 here. But for example, this guy is ranking number 5 here with only 3 reviews. This guy's ranking number 4 here with only 3 reviews. Now you can see that they're brand new sellers, okay? But as brand new sellers, they're ranking in the top 5, so they can actually steal some of those sales very easily with a low review count. So number 10 is items where your competitors are all selling at least $5,000 per month, okay? Why is that? Why? Because if you have, say, like a 40% profit margin, you want to be making at least $2,000 a month in profit. And at the beginning stages, you can use that money to advertise your product, get it up in the ranking, and compete and start to make sales on your own. So for example, when we go back to this ceramic potted plants, we can see here like this guy's making 4,000, 4,800, 6,000, 22,000, 10,000, 45,000. And these guys with 3 or 4 reviews are literally brand new. They've only had a couple sales and they're ranking in the top 5. So if that continued, you could probably think that they're going to jump around these guys and start making $5,000 or $6,000 a month. And you can see that this category does have the potential to make you $20,000 to $40,000 a month. So it looks like a good potential product, except for the fact that this product is very breakable. So do me a favor, hit the like button and make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon. If you don't do those things, the YouTube algorithm probably won't show you other videos from me. So that ensures that you'll kind of get at least the opportunity to see my new upcoming videos. And over here, I will link the last video that talks about the top 10 type of products that you don't want to sell. And over here, I'll link my Amazon FBA free training. Make sure you watch that if you haven't, and I will see you in the next video.